Hello and welcome to the Core Strength and Stability video training. The idea behind this video is simply to give you 6 exercises that will stress and strengthen your entire core. So basically from your hips to your shoulders, front, back, and side. The idea of having a really strong core doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be faster. But what it does mean is that you're going to be able to train more. And in some cases, you will be a lot stronger to be able to push off in a running stride or pedaling, and because you're going to have more to push against. You're going to be stronger in your core. This comes from the Foundation series. This is called a Founder. The idea is that you, and I will face you in a moment so you can see what it looks like from the front, is that you come and sit back into a chair pose. The key is that you are on your heels and that your toes, you can see my toes are coming up and down. So I'm like just a little step away from falling backwards. And I'm taking my arms and I'm bringing them back behind me so that my shoulder blades are squeezing together. I'm kind of stressing my triceps, extending them. But that's not really the purpose. I am simply trying to create some stress in my back and in my shoulder blades. And we'll hold this for a couple of seconds. And then we'll extend into the fun part. The fun part is extending up into a full chair. Now, it doesn't matter what angle your arm's at. Some of you are going to be able to go all the way up. I can't go that high, but what matters is that you're going as high as you can because you're really working on your back strength. And you will feel this in your back. And you will inhale, come up, exhale, come down into a forward fold, come back all the way up, and sit right back into the chair. So your feet are roughly shoulder width apart, and you're holding this up. Exercise number 2 is a variation on a superhero. So we're going to come down onto our belly. And in superhero, typically you're going to raise your arms and raise your feet. We are going to leave our knees and our feet on the mat. So at first we're going to inhale and then lift up your upper body and bring your arms back to a W with your thumbs pointing at your ears and your elbows up so your shoulder blades are squeezing together. And then inhale and come back out. And then exhale and pull back. So you do these until you start feeling the fatigue and then stop. 15 to 30 seconds. As well, until you build up to that much, and maybe it's going to be more. It's going to be up to you how much you do this. But these are, especially at the end here, when you're holding up your torso as high as it'll go, your elbows are high, your shoulder blades are squeezed. Number 3 is an elbow plank rotation. You can do these as a full plank, but it gets a little hard on your wrists. It's entirely up to you. In an elbow plank, start here. If you need to, you can always be on your knees. But even if you can only do one of these, try it with your knees up. The idea now is that you extend and rotate, and then come back, extend and rotate. If you can look at the hand that's coming up, that's even better. Inhale and then exhale. Inhale as you're coming back down. Exhale as you rotate. If you end up coming up and then falling backwards, it's a common thing. It's all right. Laugh at yourself and come back. Doesn't matter how many you do. What matters is the time and how much fatigue you are building up in your core. Number 4, this is a variation on both a dead bug and a hollow exercise. But we'll start with a general hollow so that you understand the concept and where you should be feeling this. So, on your back, knees up, arms up, feet up. Right? This is your traditional dead bug pose, and then you extend your arms. What we're going to do is focus on the hollow part of it. Your hollow of your back is the small of your back, where the bottom of your spine, where that curve is. Our goal is to rotate our hips so that we're pushing our lower spine into the floor as if it was a plaster and we're trying to make a plaster cast of our lower spine. So it's hard to see, but only this part of my body is on the mat. The rest is up. My belly is just tensed. My belly button is coming into my spine, and then I'm going to relax because I'm getting tired. So you're going to feel that burning happening in your belly because you're holding it so tight. So the hollow is pushing that small of your back into the mat. Once you have that feeling, then we're going to start coming into the dead bug part of it. Lift up your knees, hands. So what happens now is that we're going to inhale and push down and come into the hollow. And as you exhale, push in as you are extending your leg and your arm. And that's where it gets really hard. So you've really got to work to push that in. Then inhale and come back and relax a little bit. And then you've inhaled, and now exhale the other side and push down. And I'm not joking about the pressure that I'm putting with my voice, because it really is that hard. And inhale and exhale. And you might only come to here, and that's absolutely okay. Whatever you can do, it gives you a little chance to relax on the inhale, and on the exhale, you extend until you can't keep your small of your back on the mat anymore. Now, you may notice that I'm keeping my head on the mat this time, which is just fine because your neck starts getting pretty tired. Number 5, side planks with a hip lift when you get to it. So side planks, traditional, keep your elbow or your arm underneath your shoulder, stack your hips, lift up your hips, and come on up, all right? That looks easy, yeah, but it's not, it's hard. Some ways of building into it is bending your knee and keeping your knee on the mat. You can also keep your front foot forward and come up this way. This tends to distribute some of the weight. It makes it a little bit easier. Or you can simply keep your feet stacked, lift up your arm. All right? Once you get to this point where you can hold this for 30 to 60 seconds, you can start dropping your hip and lifting it up. And then doing that same work on the other side. So, number 6 is my favorite, simply because it takes all that movement that you've been doing, all that stress movement and holding movement, and you are doing a movement that uses your whole core, your hips up to your shoulders. It's called a kneeling windmill. And we'll start by, I'm going to have my right knee on the ground, my left knee is up over my left foot, and I'm going to flip around, see what my right leg is doing. It's not going straight, I'm kind of bringing it in, so there's almost, not quite 90 degrees, but it's pretty close. Here's what I want you to do to start with. Push out your left hip, like you were going to try to hip bump somebody. Hip check. And as if you were bringing my left hip towards my right foot. So you're not bending over and hinging, you're pushing your hips over. All right? That's the first movement. So try that. Secondly, left knee is up, left hand is up. My arm is completely straight. I'm trying to stick it into my shoulder joint as much as I can. I'm going to look up at my left hand. All right, now I'm going to push my hip out and just keep pushing it out. And you know, I'm just going to keep falling to the ground. My right hand comes to the floor. I'm still looking up at my weight or at my hand. And now I'm going to roll my hips back to a straight line. So push the hips out and then come back with my hips. Now, if you start feeling comfortable with that, you can come down. You could even try to come down onto your elbow and come back up. So what's key is to keep looking up at the weight. Your shoulder rotates, so you get a great shoulder workout. Once you start feeling like you're pretty comfortable with this, you can take a kettlebell or a dumbbell and add some more stress. So bring up the kettlebell. I'm looking up at the weight. My right knee is up, my right hand is up, my right arm is straight. My left foot is rotated out. I'm going to push my hips out to the right. I'm so going to look up at the weight. My arm is straight up into the air. And I'm bringing my hips back. Inhaling and exhaling as I come back up. All right, so then if you can do this workout for 15 to 20 minutes, 3 times a week, you are going to build some serious strength in your core that you will notice when you are running and when you are riding, especially when you're going up a hill, especially when you're doing a sprint or some kind of hard effort. You're going to feel like there is a little bit more power when you're pushing hard. Thanks for watching. Take care.